Good evening, good evening. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, and I am DJ Wonder Chrissy, and this is the Migrant Mayhem Show. Okay, so we got some updates. There's lots happening in Chicago today. You would not be able to believe this stuff unless I told you and showed you what hell was going on. Tensions are arising, and couple aldermen, I think there's three of them, and one of them is Alderman Ray Lopez, who actually has some common sense. The guy actually makes sense, and he's declared he's running for U.S. Rep, I think, for Chicago next time around. He currently is an alderman in Chicago in one of the wards, and he's actually a smart guy and has common sense. So these guys are calling for resignations of 7 or 8 of Brandon Johnson's Migrant Mayhem team. Yeah, I guess we'll call them the Migrant Mayhem team. And due to incompetence and the wasting of tens of millions, according to them. I guess when you're taking down and putting up tents and the gravel and all the disposal, I guess they removed 6 inches of soil off this site, and still didn't do it the way that it should be done. There should be like a membrane. They just dumped six inches of gravel and called it a day and said, "Oh, that's good enough for the migrants." So let's look at this video where they're talking about the call for the resignation.
Continues to unfold in connection with the now canceled migrant encampment that was supposed to go in Brighton Park.
Today, a group of aldermen are calling for the resignation of several city officials. Casey Cronish joins us with the very latest. Casey?
Beautiful Casey Cronus.
Members of the Johnson
you guys know I love her voice.
Under fire for the failed campsite. Just 24 hours after Governor Pritzker officially shut down any further construction here, 3 aldermen penned a letter to Mayor Brandon Johnson. In that letter, Alderman Anthony Beal, Alderman Ray Lopez, and Alderman Anthony Napolitano are asking for the immediate resignation of 7 department leaders, including First Deputy Chief of Staff Christina Passione Zayas and Deputy Mayor of Immigrant, Migrant, and Refugee Rights Beatriz Ponce de Leon. The letter slams those leaders for wasting taxpayer dollars by attempting to build a tent city on toxic land.
Sounds like a good
idea.
idea.
This is a site where the city knew had contaminants, but was forcing this issue down the throats of the community that did not want it. The community warned the administration that there were contaminants here, and it was totally ignored. When you have people who are advising the mayor on sites like this, making decisions on sites like this that are putting people in harm's way, is doing a total disservice to the people of the city of Chicago.
In response, the mayor's office says the people being attacked in that letter are doing serious work to assist and solve this humanitarian crisis, and they will continue to work with those who are also taking it seriously. Reporting live in Brighton Park, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
So Mayor Brandon, he keeps talking about his B and D and C plan, and he was in a press conference today where he said he had all these plans, but didn't provide any details though. And while they're messing around, there just happens to be 7 more buses
How to protect your house and family.
rolling into the city while they're sitting there squabbling back and forth. There's 2 buses are already here, and 5 more are due to hit sometime in the next 12 hours. And I don't know if we have any space for them. You watch this video, they these people get off the bus, and they said some of them have relatives that they're going to get in contact with, but some of them are walking around with blankets, like a thin, not even a heavy blanket, it looks like a thin blanket. They don't have jackets even. So let's take a look at this as the buses keep rolling into Chicago, folks.
Andrea Medina is live in the South Loop, where OEMC workers are on site to welcome and process these new arrivals. Andrea.
Micah and Pat, we've seen 2 buses arrive, and that was about 2 hours ago, and city officials are still here waiting for the arrival of 5 more buses. Now, as dozens of migrants stepped off the buses, they were all greeted by OEMC officials. Many were adults, but there were several children as well. Then a group of people with New Life Centers also welcomed them. They had tables ready with coats and another with bags filled with basic necessities. Folks. We spoke with the Venezuelan migrant who didn't want her face to be shown, but she says their bus ride was more than 24 hours long. She traveled with her husband, 2 kids, and other relatives. But before the bus ride to Chicago, she says they had a long and dangerous 2-month journey from their home country. She describes being robbed and kidnapped. Now, she says the only worry she has now is a cold, but she is happy to be in a great city like Chicago and will be staying with a relative who lives here. My family is really very grateful for everything they are doing for us migrants. It is very nice how they receive us, help us, and all those things. And most of the migrants have left, and those who are still here are waiting for a family member or friend to pick them up. Right now, more than 500 migrants are still waiting to be placed in shelters. That's meanwhile, the city has already received 2 buses full of migrants, and they're waiting for 5 more later this evening. We're live in South Loop. Andrea Medina, WGN News.
Thank you, Andrea.
So they're thankful for all the food and things that people in Chicago do for them. We'll see how long that lasts. I think a lot of these migrants have long worn out their welcome in the city of Chicago. I've had some comments on my channel where people are commenting about the tents that are taking over their neighborhoods, and all the mess, and just everything that's happening. They're not people that live in their neighborhoods have had it. They're done with this, and then you tell them that their taxes are going to get impacted because of this stupid stuff. So let's see. Let's get another one queued up here for you. So people have had it. There's no more welcoming committee. I don't think there ever really was a welcoming committee among the citizens of Chicago. And Brandon's what he's doing and his actions and what's the results that he's getting are not helping. As you can imagine, there's tensions between him and Governor Pritzker, and it's only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse. We're just waiting for the fireworks right now. The finger pointing has begun. Listen here while Mayor Johnson kind of points the finger at the state government, a.k.a. J.B. Pritzker and his bunch.
Could be salvaged. It was actually a late morning news release from the governor announcing the plant had been scrubbed.
CBS 2 political reporter Chris Ty has been digging into how this all played out politically and what it may signal about the relationship between the mayor and governor.
And so I'm going to continue to move as quickly as I possibly can.
With migrant headcounts rising and temperatures falling, a mayor hoping for speed instead hit with the political chill from Springfield. Just one day after hoping for a green light at Brighton Park, the governor signaled it was red. In a midday press release, Governor Pritzker wrote, "We will not proceed with housing families on a site where serious environmental concerns are still present. My administration remains committed to a data-driven plan to improve the asylum seeker response and we will continue to coordinate with the city of Chicago as we work to expand available shelter through winter.
The state of Illinois went into a contract with Garda World building on this site, knowing full well that assessments were being handled.
The relations between Brandon Johnson and Governor Pritzker are a little tense. They're not on the same page. The city needs more money. The state has less to give. So there's tension.
Retired UIC political science professor Dick Simpson says the city and state being out of step with each other isn't uncommon and usually more acute when they're from different parties.
There's always some tension because they each have a different agenda and they each have a different set of timetables and a different set of resources.
As the question over where the resources should move to after now being sent from Brighton Park, the mayor was asked 3 times for a specific plan B, but never gave a firm location.
As other folks have asked for Plan B, I've been planning for Plan B, C, and D, and F, E, and F from the very moment that I became the mayor of the city of Chicago.
In the end, it was the state EPA saying that the Brighton Park location did not meet the standards for residential use. At a downstate press conference on Tuesday, Governor Pritzker said the state, while we help with funding, we don't pick the sites. That is up to cities. In the newsroom, Chris Ty, CBS 2 News.
How does the best basketball player of all time make more in retirement than he?
So there you go. I don't know where we go from here, and I've also seen in the media they're actually questioning whether or not these tents that have been partially erected are potentially contaminated, and the equipment that was used to erect the tents is potentially contaminated. They're also saying that, they have no idea when they took 6 inches of dirt off the top of this 9-acre property. They even transported it in open back trucks. They didn't have enclosed dump trucks. So they were driving this dirt, which was contaminated and, creating dust clouds through the neighborhood. So they're spreading it all over the place. This is... it just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse. And as you saw this video, Brandon really doesn't have a plan, although he doesn't want to say that. He just wants to kind of fake his way through it, like which he's been doing for the last 3 months, is faking his way through it. I mean, we all saw this, right? When the cold weather hit, they kind of looked at each other and said, oh boy, we need a plan, and I don't think they ever got one. They just tried to quickly come up with something, and now today, buses are rolling in again. Another 7 buses, 30 people, another 210 people approximately, 210, 240 people rolling into the city of Chicago. You just cleaned out some of the police stations, and now you got 800 more that are needing some type of housing. We'll see where this all goes, but I got a feeling it's going nowhere fast, and it's not going anywhere that's a very, very advantageous to anyone. So there you have it. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. It's kind of ludicrous. It kind of just creates its own. I don't know. It's it's like a circus. It's a 3-ring circus. And it just keeps getting worse, folks. So like, share, and subscribe. This is DJ Wonder Chrissy with Migrant Mayhem. And as always, I'm here. Tell people, if you know Brandon Johnson, tell him I'm here. I'm willing to work for him and help him with this crisis. The There's plenty of places in the city. Why don't you just print these tents on the Obama Library site? That would be a good spot. And I think Barack and Big Mike would enjoy having that right next to their new library. That would be a great idea. Wouldn't put it up at Big Mike's library. It's looking good. I've seen pictures of it. It's starting to be closed in, I think. I don't know when it's opening, but it went up real quick there. And now there's talks of the Bears trying to come up with a location for their new stadium. And I think they're probably going to get that done before Brandon Johnson figures out where to put these tents. So stay tuned here, folks. DJ Wonder Chrissy. We're going to be bringing you all the details, all the gory details, all the mayhem, all the chaos, all the mess. And that's all you can expect from Brandon Johnson. So over and out, DJ Wonder Chrissy.